starting with a W-4 training, 2017. It's the first one that I did this year. I have done thousands of these. This is Edmund Lee. I've done this with a group called Our Legacy Movement, which stands for Our United Reality. If you're reality, man, I'm tripping. Um, Co-founded about 2, 3 years ago. I don't even remember. I co-founded it with another individual. They called me the janitor, which is basically I like to just clean up stuff, make sure everything is nice and neat, and everybody's doing what they need to do. And we have a lot of fun with it. But I wanted to just do this recording so we could show a live example of creating a increase in somebody's just by using strategy that is not taught in schools. It will never be taught in schools, will never be taught in jobs, will never be taught in corporate level. And a lot of times it will never be taught from parents because most parents don't know it. So we want to change that, break that cycle. And I think we just lost. Oh, she's went on mute. So I'm gonna leave you off mute, ma'am, because we're gonna talk. So unless you're just gonna be on mute, it's tough for me to do the training with you.
No, I'm good. I just had to say my goodbyes to somebody. I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right. So first thing I want you to do, if you can see my screen, you can use the one you want to do. First things first, let's read the purpose of the W-4. Can you read that at the top left corner?
Complete Form W-4 so that your employer can withhold the correct federal income tax from your pay. Consider completing a new Form W-4 each year and when your personal or financial situation changes.
Hey, have you ever read that?
Actually, no. Like, not ever.
Okay. Most people have never read that, and they don't know that they should change it every year. And they don't know where your personal financial situation changes. And guess what? They don't explain it. So basically, whenever you technically legally, they've covered themselves by saying this, but they didn't really go into detail. What is a personal financial situation? Well, that's if you get married, if you have kids, if you somebody moves in, you start taking care of an elderly person, you start a business, all types of things go into this. You buy a house, you start doing paying student loan interest. There's so many things on here, but it's very vague, and it's vague for a reason. And the numbers also change almost every year. So people have theirs wrong, especially if they don't fill them out every single year. So just because we're doing this now doesn't mean you should not redo it every January. It should be just like having a toast on January. You should have a toast to your W-4.
Makes sense.
All right. So now let's go through each one individually really quick. So let's start with A. So read that one and let me know if you qualify for that or not.
Enter one for yourself if no one else can claim you as a dependent. And yeah, that applies.
Okay. So let's just keep going through them and let's just knock them out.
All right. B, enter one if you're single and have only one job, or you're married, have only one job, and your spouse doesn't work, or your wages from a second job or your spouse's wages, or the total of both, are $1,500 or less. So, yeah. Um, Next one. Enter one for your spouse, but you may choose to enter 0 if you're married and have either a working spouse or more than one job. Entering 0 may help you avoid having too little tax withheld. That doesn't apply. D is enter number of dependents other than your spouse or yourself you will claim on your tax return. E is enter 1 if you will file as head of household on your tax return. And
Okay.
then
Now do you qualify for that one?
I do.
Okay. How you qualify for that one, but you don't qualify for dependents. So who are you claiming?
It says enter 1 for yourself if no one else can claim you as a dependent, right? That's A. So
Right.
nobody else. And then I'm single and at the time I only have one job. That was it.
But do
I
you
didn't
have
even
any kids?
no,
Or any
no.
dependents?
I didn't do dependents.
So let's look at do you really qualify for head of household then? Read head of household.
See conditions under head of household above.
It's right. I got it on the screen too.
Ah, sorry, I was looking at just the generally you claim head of household, filing status, Your tax return if you are unmarried and pay more than 50% of the cost to keeping up a home for yourself and your dependents or other qualifying individuals. Yeah, that applies.
Do you have any other dependents? It says yourself and your dependents or your qualifying individuals.
Well, we live together, and I pretty much had the financial responsibility of the house. So, but I didn't
So,
claim him as a dependent because he's, an adult.
well, I'm going to teach you the legal, or not the legal, but the correct way, but you can always put what you want to put.
Okay.
So technically you're not head of household.
Okay.
Okay. You may be head of household in like, hey, I'm the head of the household. I pay the bill. Yeah, I get that. But from the IRS standpoint, you're not head of household because you don't have a qualifying child or dependent. And if you Google, can you be head of household without dependents? It'll show you right there exactly that you cannot. But I'm gonna tell you like this. My goal is to teach you how to correct your W-4.
Mm-hmm.
I know people that will put that because they do have money going to whatever, and it's not quote unquote something that's going to, it's not going to be the end of the world if you put head of household, even though you're not, because you take care of and pay the most bills. Does that make sense? By on a recording, I'm not about to sit here and tell you you should. My goal is to show you how to do it correctly. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. So, matter of fact, I'm not even going to share this recording because I want to teach you what's real. If I were you, I would put head of household, but let's just know that it's not head of household. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And you are quote unquote responsible for that, but I just want you to know what it really means. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so you're gonna put one in E. So F, let's put that one. Let's go to that. We'll zero there, right?
Okay. And F is enter one if you have at least $2,000 of child or dependent care expenses for which you plan to claim a credit. And you cannot include child support payments. Yeah. Okay. G is, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
G is for child tax credit. It includes additional child tax credit. There's information about that. If your total income will be less than 70,000, 100,000 if married, enter 2 for each eligible child. Then less 1 if you have 2 to 4 eligible children, or less 2 if you have 5 or more eligible children. And then there's another stipulation. I'm sorry?
Do you have any children that you're claiming?
No.
So you don't even got to worry about any of those two.
No, none of that applies.
Okay, so what's the total that you will have on line H? Or
2.
You got yourself, you got single, and then you got head. You're gonna claim head of household, right?
I am.
So it should be 3. I'm not sharing this recording.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, 3.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna share it with you, and you can have it to learn from or whatever. But I'm not gonna use it as a matter of fact. I mean, people can still hop on even if they hop on, but I'm not gonna.
No, I think it's just me.
Okay. So don't matter.
Okay. Yeah, it's 3.
So now here's the fun part. Are you paying for a mortgage?
No, rent.
Okay. So number one, most likely we're just gonna end up putting 0 for that, even though what you want to do is you want to get to a live event where I can teach you the whole breakdown of this. But if you're not paying interest, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to qualify for this one.
Okay.
Regardless of how much money you pay on this, and I'll explain that once we get to line 3. Okay. So let's put 0 for 1, and then go to 2 and enter. Which one do you put for 2?
9,350.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Like I'm following along with you, but I'm doing mine while I'm talking to you as well. So that's
good.
Okay. That's why I pause for a minute. All right. And then 3 is the subtraction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm-mm. Which is still 9,350.
No, they word that weirdly, and this is what I don't like
You
about it.
subtract 2 from 1, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So then technically it's like a negative, but
It would be zero.
okay.
Yeah. So
That's
that's the
weird.
point. That well, here's the thing. Your in order for you to qualify for three, your basically your itemized deductions, your mortgage interest, your charitable contributions, state and local taxes, medical expenses, unless you had high medical expenses last year of over 10% of your income and miscellaneous deductions, then normally that number won't be higher than 9,350. So it has to be higher than 9,350 in line one
In order
for
for,
you to get a number in line three.
yeah. Okay.
So unless you had a big medical expense, or interest in mortgage is really interesting. It's you can get up there, or if you just had a big a lot of charity um, and other things of that nature. But I don't want to go through all the little details and granular that you might not that's not going to affect you. But just know that studying the W-4, going to the live events and things like that will be something that you probably want to do.
Understood.
That's why live events are so important because they go kind of in more depth and you just get to meet more people, understand people that are married to have this filled out, those types of things. And I think they have them in Chicago too.
Yeah.
So anyway, number four. This is the most important part of W-4. Okay, so read number four.
Enter an estimate of your 2017 adjustments to income and any additional standard deduction.
All right. So let's go through that. Let me show you what I need to do on that. Okay, so now you want to go to uh, the orientation document.
Okay.
And see how vague this is. They don't say anything about joining a home-based business.
Nothing at all.
But if you go through Pub 505, see they cover their ass because they're saying see Pub 505. So
Mm-hmm.
technically they don't have to explain nothing because they told you to go check it out. You didn't go check it out. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
But think about most of the time when people filling this out, they just got a job, they got a pack of 18,000 papers. They're just trying to get through it. Their parents didn't know it, so they just fill out whatever they fill out and keep it moving and do this. And it's like this literally for the rest of their life. And once you see the difference, you'll see why I have been trying so hard to get you to do it because it's really that important. Really the most important document in the United States. For anybody that has a job, it's more important than a social security number because this is the difference between being poor and being wealthy. Remember? Do
Yep.
you remember the example I told you about investing $83 a month?
Mm-hmm. With the 10% compound interest.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is where you get the $83 a month. This
Gotcha.
is where you get the money to pay for to pay off debts, to open up so much the door for cash flow. So you're not living check to check. You're not living with evictions. You're not living with rent history issues. You're not living with that because you have the money that you need to function. So that's one of the reasons that most people fail in finance is because of this right here. Okay, so we're going to change that. That's the good news.
Yay.
Okay, so let's go to, if you can see my screen, I don't think I'm sharing, so let me
Nah,
share
it's
again.
blank.
All right, I want you to follow along really quick on this.
Or do you want me to just screen share mine? I have mine up.
Well, I'm gonna need you to rewrite something. I should actually I do have a table, but I don't know where it is right now.
Okay.
But we're gonna go through it anyway. So you see this table here, income shifting?
Yep.
I want you to recreate the table on your sheet of paper. So just go ahead and put income expenses, monthly, optional, percentage, monthly savings, yearly savings, and then go down expenses, home utilities, home internet, cell phone, and entertainment. And leave the car miles number blank. We'll fill that part in. So go ahead and create that. Let me know when you're done.
All right. So I'm just filling in my part, not the optional or anything like that, right?
You just copying it first. I'm gonna teach you how to fill it in. Don't put any numbers in yet. I mean,
Okay.
you can put the numbers in. You can put the home. You can do expenses and monthly. Don't do optional, but just put your numbers in, and we can come back and go do them all.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So let's go through. Let's go through home. Okay. So let me explain what this is doing. This is basically showing you the type of write-offs that you can get, so you can come up with a number of about how much you're going to write off this year. Okay. So this is how a lot of tax people try to get people higher refunds, because they'll go and see if they can claim a business or stuff like that, and they'll try to, say that you did all these write-offs and claim kids and all this other stuff and get you more money. But they don't tell you what it is and how it makes sense. So you're just out here getting stuff but don't have a clue of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're doing now is you're telling them, hey, in advance that you have this, so now you can get your money up front, so you don't have to be in debt and have struggle to April every year. Okay.
Okay.
So optional percentage means what percentage of this are we going to use as a write-off or claim as a business expense. We kind of got it pre-populated with what the IRS teaches, but what you want to do is go into my econ and go through the modules, and it teaches the different financial education on the different tax codes and how you can write them off. If you want to learn more, they're right there in your back office to explain how to use write-offs.
Okay.
Okay, so number one is home. We use 20% on home. You can use 10, you can use 15, but we use 20, basically saying that 20% of our monthly of our home is used for business. If you use 100%, that usually causes a red flag with the IRS.
Okay. So that's completely up to me? Like, is like,
Well, that's about standard for me, because if you think about your house, your living room, wherever you use your internet, unless you have like a gargantuan house, 20% is pretty average. You may even use more than that, but it's not a flag for the IRS to be at around 20%.
Okay. Well, that looks real different.
What's that?
I just like plugged in the numbers. That would save me like 190 a month.
Well, I'm gonna explain that. I'm gonna explain how that works. It's not necessarily gonna save you that. I'm going to teach you how that works.
Okay.
Right now, we just want to put the numbers in. So the monthly, you put 20% monthly savings and then do yearly savings, and let me know when you're on to. You can just do the utilities, go all the way to cell phone, and you can follow. You can follow that one. Like, so what is your home? Give me that one.
950.
That's the monthly.
Yes.
Okay, what's the optional on that? I mean, what's the monthly savings?
190.
Okay,
And then
multiply that times
yearly.
12.
Yeah, yearly is 2280.
Okay. Now let's go to the next one.
And then we have Utilities run about 200, so 20% of that is 40. Excuse me. And then times 12, right? So yearly would be 480. The internet is 60 bucks. So now on that one, if I'm going by the chart, the optional percentage is 100
100% of it.
because that's what we use. Okay. That's 720. And then you said stop at my cell phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So travel and lodging is basically what you expected to spend on travel and lodging for the year in relates to business. So if you plan on going to my econ events, you plan on traveling to anywhere. Any travel can be written off though. I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be because you're a business owner, so you can market anywhere that you go.
Okay.
Okay.
I actually do plan on hitting the event in Atlanta.
But it's not just my econ events. I mean, just lodging anywhere that you go, any hotel, because you can always market to the staff. You can talk to anybody. So
Right.
you now can pretty much write up almost everything you do.
Right. I really only have like one trip planned though, and one of those is my honeymoon. So trying to
Uh,
remember like how much it was gonna. I know it's like 3,000, which is insane. But... So can we
well,
ballpark this one?
yeah, that's what most. I mean, it's an estimate, so that's what you want to do.
Okay. So because it's like a home based thing, the percentage of that is what?
This is just going to be well, you're there. We don't really do percentages on these. We just doing an estimate
Okay.
of how much. It's 100% pretty much because you're guesstimating how much is business.
Right.
So you're putting the full number right there for the next three. So how much dining that you'll do, and you want to learn these things in the legality on them, and it's all in.
Okay.
Okay, so what do we have on the numbers? Oh, miles. How many
Yeah, I
miles
was
do you
gonna
use?
say explain the miles. So
So basically, this person is saying that they have 15,000 car miles that they use a year. And that the law is that you can write off 54 cents a mile for business miles. So he's basically saying that he's only going to use 10,000, claiming 10,000 miles are business. So then for it, it's $5,400 that he's claiming up.
oh, okay. Excuse me.
Okay, where are we at? How many business miles are you looking at?
I put 4,000 because I'm probably gonna drive to Atlanta, and then
4,000 car miles for a whole year?
yeah, I suck at driving.
Okay, well, as long as you know your strengths.
Yeah, I'm not a.
All right. Well, let's do that. So 4,000 times the 54 cents.
It's 2160.
Okay. All right. So now let's go through all of those yearly savings and add them all up, and I'm going to explain to you how it works.
So total, I got $16,364.
60. You said 16,000.
364.
Okay. So now this is the way write-offs work. Scroll to that next sheet.
Okay.
I want you just kind of understand it. So this is the killer. This is the key right here. So this person right here is an example. You see the next sheet, 47,000.
Yes.
Do you understand how write-offs work? Like how they work and how they make you money?
Vaguely. Because it lessens
Okay,
the amount that they can tax you on, right?
exactly. That is the exact difference. Let's see what that looks like in the numbers right here. So this person makes $47,000 a year. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and just by filling out their W-4 correctly, just without a home-based business, they get a $10,000 government write-off. But let's say their W-4's income is filled out incorrectly, and they just put 0 or 1 at the 47,000. They'll be getting taxed at the 25% tax rate, and they're going to owe $11,750. You see
Yes.
that? Now, this person says, "Hey, I want to fill my W-4 out correctly," so they file it. Claim 2 or 3, whatever is correct. Single head of household, 9,000. They got about 10,000 write-offs right there. Now they're only getting taxed on 37,000, but they're still at the 25% tax rate. They're paying $9,250 in taxes. Does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Then you say, well, I got a home-based business, and yours is about spot on. I'm writing off $16,000. Well, now I'm taking my allowances up, and I'm writing off. He's now at $21,000 taxable income. So now you multiply that 21,000 times 15% because they're in a different tax rate now.
Because it's less.
They act exactly. So they're only taxing $3,150 versus.
Yeah, that's different.
It's a big difference. A $6,000 difference. Do you know for $6,000 a year, you're talking about $500 a month? Okay, $500 a month will stop a lot of people from getting evicted, from having to not be able to eat, to not be able to get their car repoed. But guess what? A lot of people are trained to wait and work and try to get this 3 to 4, 5,000 in April and just depend on some type of refund check. Well, this is where the refund is coming from. A lot of times, not even the business part. They're just overtaxing on all types of stuff. But that's not what you want. You want to stay in your home. You want to invest. You want to travel the world. You want to have money to live. But a lot of people, what I tell them is like, some people rather wait, go through the desert with no water in order to try to get a pail of water at the end of the year instead of getting water along the way so that they're not thirsty, don't need a pail of water at the end of the year.
Hmm.
You know, people want this big refund and they'll rather get kicked out. They'd rather be poor. They'd rather not go to anything. They'd rather not travel. They'd rather not be able to spend time with their family, miss funerals, miss vacations, miss weddings, reunions, children's anniversaries, graduations, having good gifts, having good Christmases, going out on date night, investing in anything, buying a new car, just so they can wait to April to get money that they need to pay for all the debt that they got in interest because they didn't pay for it anyway.
Wow.
But it's mental. It's all mental. Okay, it's all about mindset. And until you have somebody that cares enough to force you to do this, you're going to stay in that same rut. It took us what, 2, 3 months?
Yeah, right around 3, somewhere up in there.
You know, and that's why I didn't have sympathy for financial problems because your solution is sitting there. It's kind of like, okay, I'm mad that I don't have the money, but I got money literally sitting on my couch or sitting on my table. Nobody's going to be sympathy for you because you got the money. You just don't want to pick it up and use it. And things are going to continue to happen to you in a negative spiral until you shift the mindset and then you shift the actions and then the results will shift. Until then, you're going to continue to have woe is me, continue to have issues with finance, continue to get the results. The decisions that we make cause results, period. And if we don't change those decisions, those results will change. And if we bring people into our lives that don't change or help those decisions in a romantic way or even in a friendship way, that could be detrimental. So somebody's got to change. If both don't change, then both will be broke. And then both will bring in some kids and they're going to teach them how to be broke. And broke kids, especially broke teenagers, will do anything to make money.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is why a lack of financial education causes broken homes, causes divorce, causes children to sell drugs, causes children to sell their bodies, causes them to do all type rob people because their parents didn't teach them how to create money because their parents didn't know. All they knew to do was to work. Or the slave master doesn't teach you how to become financially free. It doesn't work that way and it will never work that way. So if you take a hold of what you have in my econ, you will literally change every person in your family that comes from your womb all the way down forever, even 100 years after you're gone, if you do this and really take it seriously. That's the power that you have with this. This is more powerful than my master's degree in FAM. My master's did not teach me how anything about freedom. This did. So once you get that and really, really dive into it, your life will never, ever, ever, ever have to be the way it's been in certain situations. Now, people are like, oh, I want to look this way. You ain't been in the gym. Like, I don't. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to say, "Oh, you keep eating that way, you're going to get fat." Like, there's no question about it. Like, so it's the same thing with our finances. We keep doing certain things. I don't care if we work harder. I don't care if we get another job. If you don't learn what the wealthy learn, it's kind of like playing Monopoly. I don't care how many times you roll the dice, which is working hard. You can roll doubles. You could be the best roller in the world in Monopoly. Just you could be the hardest worker, have two jobs, never get any sleep. But if you land on Boardwalk or Park Place and you don't have any property, you're gonna lose. Period. Well, I worked hard. They love me at my job. Doesn't matter. The system was set up for you to lose if you don't do what the wealthy do. The only way to win Monopoly is to buy property. No other way. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the easiest way is through strategy and your own money. So now I'm about to show you what this does. So now let's put that number you just got a line for, and you can also add your estimate of your total 2017 adjustments on your tax return. Did you have any adjustments on your tax return?
Nope.
Okay. So let's go down to number 5. So put that 16,000 there.
On 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 16, 4. Okay.
All right. And now let's keep going down.
Enter an estimate of your non-wage income.
Any on that?
Wait, hold on. You add 3 and 4, which is the 16. Include any credit. Okay. Just making sure I read that right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what is... Alright. And then 5 is enter estimate of your non-wage income, dividends or interest. I don't think I have any of that.
You would know if you did.
Okay, yeah, so no. And then you subtract 6 from 5. Wait, so this is like they did in the beginning where you have to subtract 2 from 1, right?
Yeah. Okay. So what this one? No, not necessarily. So this was subtract 6 from line 5. So
Which is
you're
0.
taking 0 from 16,000. Okay. So it should still be 16,000, whatever that number is.
It is. Yeah, it is. Okay. And then 8. Divide that. Yeah, I need my calculator again. Hold on. So divide 16,364 by 4,050. Drop any fraction. So they just want a whole number, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's 4.
Okay. So put 4 in there and
then enter the number of personal allowances from the beginning, which was 3.
Okay.
Then you add them together.
Mm-hmm.
That's different.
So now you're at 7, right?
Yes.
So you just went from 3 to 7.
Yeah, that's way different.
You will definitely see an increase in your check.
Yeah, that's way different.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Slightly pissed off, but okay.
Well, it definitely, now that you know, you're about to get income.
Indeed.
So what you need to do, what I would do is, one of the best ways to market is to share your success. Okay. So, and keep it simple. So just if you would put do a Facebook post saying something like, and say it in your language, however you would say it, but something like, wow, um, just got my, found out my W-4 was incorrect, just corrected it and went from 4 to 7, super excited about my next paycheck, thanks Edmund Lee, blah, 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 or saying that, hey,
No, I'm just playing.
or you could say, hey, the fact didn't know the benefits of being a business owner. My W-4 is now went from 4 to 7, and I'm excited about my next paycheck. Because yours really was kind of correct, except for the head of household, you actually were doing more. But the way you got it increased was because you're a business owner.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, so definitely do that on your actual wall. Then do one in the Our Legacy Movement group, so you can just start, making sure you're keeping, kind of in contact. But people are going to ask you, wow, or how, or blah blah blah, and you can definitely just people start being interested, and they will say, 80% of people had this thing filled out incorrectly. Mine was incorrect. I just started a business and I didn't know I could get 3 more allowances. Now that I have them, I'm down to share how I learned it. I'm down to share what anybody wants to know. Something real simple and just real talk. Nothing fancy. Just keeping it, sharing your success and then helping other people.
Gotcha.
All right.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right. Well, any questions? Any other questions on that?
Not yet.
So let me give you some homework of what I would suggest you do. Turn it into your HR immediately, and how is your credit?
Right now, um, poor, for lack of a better word.
Okay, this is what I would do if I were you. Number one, I would get that you don't. This is very dangerous for a lot of people, and I want you to really not fall in this trap. People will correct their W-4, use that money for nothing asset wise, no investment. They'll spend it on some other stuff, groceries, bills, anything. Now, what I would suggest you do is to get an asset with it immediately. The wealthy use cash to buy an asset to get cash. So, what I would suggest is 2 things. One, I would buy the credit repair from George Cole, and I can connect you with him. I give you all the details. It's $350. Okay, which is cheap for a credit repair. Broadcast. Let me stop.